Hello, hope you're doing well, my friend. I am Wettel ASMR, and today I'm going to talk about a deeply personal subject to me, which is autism. And I've talked about this in several videos before, but now it's been a few weeks or months since I last did a video on the subject. But I know these videos often help some people who also has autism or other types of diagnoses or eventual challenges, and I hope I can help today too. But I'm also going to look at the positive sides of this, not just the challenging sides, just to be clear. So I hope you're relaxed. I hope I can help you feel good, calm and nice, and I hope you will enjoy me just talking about autism today. So as some of you already know, and some of you may have guessed, I have autism, but I have a very, very mild form of it. And I'm going to talk about the impact of autism on my personal life and how I have dealt with it. But first I'm going to just get into what autism is. So autism is a diagnosis which has become increasingly renowned or famous in recent years, and people with autism often have social struggles. It can be things like difficulty with looking people in the eye, difficulty getting new friends, especially when one is a teen. As a teenager, it can be very hard to get new friends. Or just difficulty communicating or meeting new people, especially strangers. And of course, a lot of people with autism also feel very uncomfortable in large crowds or large gatherings of people, at least large gatherings of strangers. Yeah. So it varies from autist to autist how severe the autism is. At the most severe forms of autism, the person can be completely within their own mind, unable to really interact much with the outside world in any way, and they're just focused, they're completely within their own mind. However, another aspect of autism is that a lot of people with autism are intensely focused on their hobbies or interests or the fields they are passionate about. So even the people with severe autism or completely within their own world will usually have one or two subjects which they are very knowledgeable about and very intelligent about, because a lot of people with autism has very high intelligence, and they can focus on this subject they're passionate about with intensity and a lot of mental energy. As for me, I have very mild autism, so I do not have one or two subjects which I intensely focus about. My interests are a lot of different things, but the things I am interested about and passionate about, I can focus very, very intensely on for a period of time if I want. I can control it, okay, but if I want. And I can also get a really, really high amount of mental energy, giving me so much mental energy I can work for a long time with what I'm passionate about. And meaning I can be very enthusiastic and active in projects and things I'm passionate about. So that is one of the upsides of autism I have found. Of course, how autism manifests can vary from individual to individual, and just as with anything, the personalities of people with autism vary from person to person. And there absolutely does exist person with autism who are very social too. So the personalities vary a little here. As for me, because now I'm going to go into talking about me, I do not have severe social anxiety, but I have somewhat social anxiety. It is very difficult for me to just talk with strangers, people I don't know. But I, like a lot of people with autism, is very, very comfortable and very social with my own family and friends. People I know, I can be super talkative about. I'm not shy with those people. And as you can see, I'm not shy in front of the camera either. Although some of you may notice that I sometimes don't stare directly at the camera, and that's probably due to my autism, because often in reality too, I very seldom stare directly into people's eyes, because that makes me a little uncomfortable, and that's also a very well-known trait for people with autism. It can be uncomfortable to stare directly into people's eyes, but sometimes, like right now, I try to look directly at the camera. But it's sort of my habit to not look too directly at anything. So yeah. But it was very difficult, if not impossible, for me to find any new friends as a teen. And that also because I was a little more mature than the other teens. I wasn't interested in the same things they were interested in. I'm sure I could have found a friend if I found the right person, but I didn't. I didn't find a person who had the same type of interests I did. I'm sure it did exist. It probably existed another teenager someplace in the world where I could have been friends with, but it just so happened that person wasn't near me. So I wasn't entirely friendless. I had friends, but most of them were just temporary. I've had one constant friend through my life, and that is my sister. She has been a constant friend through my life. She's both family and a friend. But yeah, so it was very difficult to talk with people my own age. It still is difficult today, but not as difficult as when I was a teen. It should be pointed out that if a stranger chooses to communicate with me, like asks me for direction or anything like that, I will answer and I can communicate back. But I don't go out of my way to talk to a stranger because that makes me uncomfortable. And so it is for a lot of people with autism. So in youth school, as we call it here in Norway, which is the school for people 13 to 15 years old, I was very lonely, and it wasn't a great time in my life. It was better when I got into special disabilities class during further education school, the school here in Norway for people aged 16 to 18, because there I found adults who understood me better, and other students, although I didn't get that much contact with them, were also special in their own way. Actually, some of them were even more special than I was. So that was helpful. Yeah. It's not always great for a person who is special to go to a normal school, because, yeah, it just isn't always, just doesn't always work. At least it didn't work entirely when I was a teen. So I wasn't bullied or anything. It's not that, it's just that the other students, I wasn't able to communicate to them, and they couldn't entirely understand me. They were never cruel. Most of them were actually kind. But it's just, it just didn't feel good, because I wasn't able to really communicate much with them. So thankfully, the later parts of my life have improved dramatically, and that's a long time ago now. But I'm just talking about this to talk about how it can be for a lot of people with autism, especially when they're teens, because I'm not the only one going through this, who has gone through this, and who is going through this for that matter. So yeah, and of course there have been a lot of barriers to overcome. When I was a teen, I couldn't swim, but I got help in special disabilities class to swim, so now I can swim actually. And for example, and I've learned to take longer walks outside without anxiety. I've learned to master any anxiety I had more effectively. And I've also braved things I never thought I could do, like filming ASMR videos and putting myself up on YouTube. That was out of the question a decade ago, or just a few years ago. Like, I never thought I would do that, but I did. So that shows to me that even though it can take time and baby steps and gradual steps, it is possible to overcome one's own barriers and challenges. But it can take time, and it is a patient process. I'll admit, it doesn't happen for everyone, but it is possible, and that's the point. And that's also some of the reason why I do this, to try and inspire other people with autism or other types of challenges, to show what there's always hope and possibility in the world, and no one shall say otherwise. It's easy to just be bitter at the world and just be like, this word is really bad, and it just everything's just faulty about this word. And there are a lot of things about the word which aren't good, but in my experience there are a lot of good things about the word too. And I believe we have some responsibility ourselves. Even though I admit that sometimes that is easier said than done, because sometimes there are external factors which can impact a lot. I have great empathy for that. But I believe that we have to try to fight for a better world, and also look at the good things in the world. And I hope by doing these videos can add to sort of help people look at the positive and good things about the world, to show what there are possibilities, and what some persons actually do overcome their anxieties and challenges, and show what there is always hope, that the world isn't just a difficult place. It is a place where there is hope and possibilities too, and where you can actually overcome your anxieties and challenges if you want to, but it can take a lot of effort, and it can take time. So yeah, and it's just important for me to do these videos, because I know it helps other people too. And it's not just people with autism. It can be people with ADHD, the most famous diagnosis, I'd say, of all, because I know a lot of people with ADHD struggles too, in different ways. There are people with Tourette's, people with other diagnoses or challenges. There are so many different challenges as well. But I just want to show you what there are light sides to this world too, and what sometimes even the people we didn't think likely to do what actually does it. Like, it was never really likely that I would stand here and do this I do now, but I do. And that shows me what there are good things in this world, and what there is hope and light in this world. And also, I'm just going to add this to this video. Remember to appreciate the small good moments in life, not just the big moments. I mean the small moments, like taking a walk on a sunny day, eating a chocolate cake, a pizza you enjoy, or just watching a good movie, or spending time with friends or family. Stuff like that can give so much to life when we appreciate those moments. I do. And I live with gratitude in my heart. I know it's easier said than done, but nonetheless. I really wish everyone else the best too. I want them to find their own happiness, whatever that happiness is. But I know the path to happiness can be long and hard, and there will be challenges as we go along. That's how life is. So yeah, I've overcome a lot of my challenges through life, and just a few years after special disabilities class, I actually attended, here in Norway we have adult courses which have a high school level of classes for people who for various reasons didn't finish high school or further education, as we call it in Norway. In my case, it is quite as simple as with what I was doing further education. I finished further education school, but I was in a special disabilities class. And in that class, we didn't get grades because it was a class for people with special disabilities. So there was no grades or anything. So I decided to just get some high school grades a few years later to just challenge myself. And then I attended a regular class. And I mastered it, but I was super afraid before walking into the classroom. Like, I was super nervous. But I mastered it. I got good grades, a top grade in history actually. And I also was able to communicate with other students during group projects. And for people with autism, I know group projects are some of the most challenging, most difficult ever. When you're putting groups in class and stuff, it's super challenging, I'm aware. But it is possible to master that too, but it takes a lot of effort, and it's very difficult when you're a teen. I didn't really master it before I was in my 20s, so yeah. But my point is, as we mature and as we grow, we can learn to overcome our disabilities or challenges, and perhaps also use what we have learned to inspire hope in others, like I'm trying to do now. And I hope I do. I hope I do. I hope I inspire hope here today by just talking about this, really. And this also goes for people with ADHD, for example, because I know a lot of you people who have that. Some have both autism and ADHD, but for you who have either both or just one or the other, I know you with ADHD also has your struggles with society, like things like concentration and stuff like that. And I'm well aware that there's no doubt that in a way society is sort of designed for the normal in a way. So it's often very difficult for neurodivergence, because that's the term for people with ADHD, autism and all this other spectrum stuff, diagnoses. It's often difficult for neurodivergence to adapt to a society which has not really adapted to them at all. So I know it's a struggle at times, but remember what all you neurodivergents have positive things too. Some of you have heightened mental energy and heightened intelligence. Other of you have, especially people with ADHD, has heightened energy, which makes you able to do a lot more during your day, because you have a lot more energy than a normal person has. I know it sometimes gets too much energy, but nonetheless. So I just try to look at the positives too, to just show what sometimes, if you use it correctly, things can almost be superpowers in a way as well. Yeah. And actually it was a guy or a girl, I think it was a guy, who commented on my videos, who just a few days ago commented, who had watched one of my older autism videos, who said that this sounded like a superpower. And I thought that was such a cool way to describe it, So thank you for that. Well, yeah, to who posted that, thank you. And so yeah, so it's just important to just try to look at the positives as well, even if that can be challenging at times, because it comes with challenges too. But you know what, if you're a neurodivergent, you're a neurodivergent, and you shouldn't label yourself or anything like that. I don't think, I'm not for labeling people, but you should look at the positives that comes with this, with these diagnoses. Yeah, if you have been diagnosed with this, or if you suspect you have a diagnosis. So, but it can of course be other type of challenges you face as well, which has nothing to do with any diagnosis. And I hope it can inspire hope in you then too, if you have a different type of challenge. So yeah. So I think I've talked and rambled a lot now about a lot of this stuff. And I just trying to think if there's anything more I should add today, or if you're done. Because I was talking about neurodivergence, right? and people with ADHD having a heightened mental energy type of stuff. And of course people with ADHD having heightened energy, and people with autism having heightened mental energy. And what this could be kind of like superpowers. So I just want to say that it is in a way superpowers as well. So to all you neurodivergents out there, appreciate yourself for who you are. And remember, I know this is strange to say, but I think that's what I should say. In many ways, trust me when I say this, people with neurodivergence are the shooter. And sure, people with non-neurodivergence are the shooter too, but people with neurodivergence are the shooter because there's an increasing amount of people being diagnosed out there. And a lot of these people, as we grow older, are going to really come up in the world. Some are going to become politicians. Some are going to become business people. Some are going to become prominent within the gaming communities or the social media communities. Or the educational communities. And the point is, as the further up in time we move in the future, there is probably going to be an increased amount of people with neurodivergence within various positions in the world. And I wouldn't be surprised if we in the future will even see state leaders who are neurodivergent. I think it's very likely to happen in the future as more and more people are diagnosed. And of course, there are also already some very famous YouTubers with neurodivergence. I know that there are at least 1 or 2 YouTubers who are known to have ASMR YouTubers who are known to have ADHD, who are super famous. So we are going to see the increasing rise of people with neurodivergence. Of that I am convinced, and it's probably going to come in every aspect of society. But of course, all of you, whether you have a diagnosis or not, are the future of the world. And the most important is who you are as a person, not what label or diagnosis is put on you. It's who you are as a person. That is the most important. And there is potential in all of you. Whatever challenge you face, you can overcome it. And even if you do not, you can find joys in the small moments in life. And perhaps either help others or be inspired by others. And maybe someday, whenever you're ready, you will be able to overcome your own challenges in some form or way. I hope I helped you people today. I hope I helped you all today. I hope I helped you today just by talking about this. And I wish you all a great week. And this was really, truly from the bottom of my heart type of video. This was a heartfelt video. Wish you all the best and a great week. Thank you and hope it helps.